Hey, thanks for dropping by to the Planners on Purpose podcast, created by Naomi Tucker, CMP. Now, this space is for the event planners to encourage and empower you so that you can fully live your life on purpose. So before we dig in, please take a moment to subscribe so you get future shows. Now, here she comes, your host, Naomi.
I believe that one of the biggest areas of focus and intentionality in the new year will be sustainability. It already is a topic of conversation. It's already being brought to the mainstream. And event planners, if you are not embracing this in your events, then now is the time to pay attention. In this particular episode, we're going to be talking about embracing sustainability in event planning and how you can do that. I will be shedding a light on a few different areas for you to then be able to go back and see how you can practice this in the new year. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Naomi Tucker. I am a strategic events consultant and burnout prevention coach, and I empower event professionals just like you to stress less, live more, and lead a life that you love. I empower them to be a planner on purpose. And I just welcome you to this podcast, whether you're new or you're been around for a while. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And I just wanted to jump right into embracing sustainability in event planning. For those of you that may not have heard about sustainability or don't know what that means or is, when you have a sustainable event, it really means that you're taking action towards preserving your natural environment. So anything that's negatively impacting the environment, we want to combat that. We, as event planners, want to promote a healthy and inclusive society and a society that's supporting a thriving economy. And this is a definition of what a sustainable event is, and it's from the Events Industry Council. I believe the Events Industry Council is a really phenomenal resource that helps provide us with tools and definitions and outlooks and practices from a united front. So you can always go to eventscouncil.org and really learn a bit more there. But as an event professional, planning events is just a big responsibility, especially when you're layering on the fact that you need to be aware of sustainable options, practices, and that you're ensuring that your greater team or customers and or clients are aware of what these practices are as they are collaborating with you and assisting you and supporting you in planning your event. And so although there is, let's say, a lot of information in this area, you can probably Google sustainable events and you get a lot of information. I think the industry has been doing an amazing job at getting information out to the masses on sustainable practices. We see it in industry events and industry webinars and conversations. So hopefully it isn't anything that's brand new to you. But I wanted to bring up a few basic areas to get you started if you're an event planner that's just looking to be more intentional about being sustainable while you're planning events, especially when we know that this is going to be a huge area of focus and it's going to do nothing but increase in the year ahead. So what I want to encourage you as an event planner is really pay attention, because as a planner, it's important that you are tapping into the information that's available to you around sustainability. So that's tapping into industry podcasts, blogs, articles, webinars, and just learn more about sustainability and listen to things like this podcast. Of course, this is a great start, but I encourage you to take it one step further and challenge yourself to really immerse yourself into an area, especially an area that you know you can make a bit of an impact. Take it a step forward and see what you can continue to do to move the needle forward in this area. It's so important. So other areas that, let's say, are helpful to focus on when it comes to sustainability, I wanted to talk a bit about the location of your event. Everybody knows like location is everything, right? But it is also very important when it comes to wanting to have a location that has sustainability on the mind, right? When you know that a location has local support, it has a thriving economy, and it has responsible governance, that's going to be a big deal for your attendees. And when the location that you're having events is literally putting their foot forward in this area, you can just see it. You could see it in the local vendors, in the venues. Everyone seems to partner and collaborate together to ensure that they are adhering to sustainable practices, and they're holding that to a high regard. You can tell the cities and the locations that actually care about this. So my advice is, as you're planning, to seek out friendly locations, perhaps locations that have great public transportation or walkable, bikeable neighborhoods, vehicle charging stations, and just having different variety of resources accessible so that they're not pulling on the environment as much, and focus on areas that perhaps even have green buildings. So when you're doing more sustainable planning, there's importance of learning and understanding where these green meetings venues are and utilizing them if you can. And what these buildings are, some people call them green buildings, they are LEED certified, and LEED meaning that they're a leader in energy and environmental design, right? They have a wonderful framework for having a healthy, highly efficient, cost-saving green building that offers environmental and social and governance benefits. These buildings are amazing. They have smart technology. They recycle really well. Everything is lean, and it's amazing to work with them. Now it can be a little bit more expensive too, but it all is ensuring that you are being more sustainable in your event. Now, that's something as a planner, if you're interested in, I would just say go to U.S. Green Building Council. That's a really great website. They even have a resource list in there where you can type in a city and you can see what buildings are green LEED certified. So if you have a destination that you're looking at, you can just type in that destination and possibly come up with some opportunities for you for your event, or just to double check, right? Double check that some venue is LEED certified. It's very important to have a location that really helps sustainability. Now, next I wanted to say is an area that you might want to look at to be more sustainable and embracing sustainable practices is eco-friendly, having eco-friendly vendors. Now, these are vendors that are either bringing forth options for you to help you easily recycle, use biodegradable materials, or just helping you to think of more the local support options that you do have. So think of things like your name badges that you use at your event. Are they recyclable? And if so, what's the process that they have to go through to be recycled? Those are questions that you should ask your vendors. Or perhaps, let's say you're getting gifts for your attendees, and are they made from materials that are helpful or harmful to the earth? Again, think outside of the box when it comes to these type of embellishments to your events. And if you have vendors that are bringing options to you that are just diverse options to be able to help you make a great decision, then that's a wonderful vendor that's really keeping things in mind, and they're aware of what their social responsibility or their sustainability responsibility would be in providing you with options. Additionally, I would say to look at how much you can equip your attendees in making good decisions with getting to and from your event. So this would be like the location that you're planning in. Can it be easily traveled to, or do they have to go to several different destinations to get to your event? Everyone needs to feel responsible for their carbon footprint, which is essentially the amount of carbon compounds that is emitted due to the consumption of fossil fuels. And that would occur during something like travel. So if you are presenting them with options or have a destination that is easily accessible, then that is going to have a lower carbon footprint than certain other areas. So definitely be thinking about that when you're choosing your destination. Be thinking about how people are getting to your destination. Is it easily accessible? These are just a few questions to ask as it relates to how people get to and from your event. Now, the next area I wanted to talk about was food and beverage. When it comes to sustainability, there's so much opportunity in this area. Making sure that you have fresh local selections available, for example, vegan options. Keeping an eye out on waste at hotels is another area to look out for. Believe me, in working with hotels and actually working in a hotel for a while, there can be a lot of waste that does occur. And I'm sure if you're a professional planner, you are aware of that. And it's the responsibility of the planner to just ensure that you have the least amount of excess of food. And you can do that by managing guarantees and taking a look at those overages and really making a plan for where excess food goes and doing that in collaboration with your venue. There was a blog post on, I believe, MPI blog, Tracy Stuckrath, who is an expert in food at events, and she does so much more. She says over-ordering isn't an option anymore. If there are quote-unquote leftovers, they will need to ensure that, like event planners is what she's saying, will need to ensure that they get donated to the community organizations that feed those in need. So, it is a responsibility of the planner to just ensure that that overage is going to someone that's in need and that all of the process and procedure that needs to be done in order to ensure that should be taken care of. The next area is recycling. Recycling is a big area of opportunity. It's nice when you're in a green event venue. You have a lot of these options laid out for you and they have a really robust recycling practice. However, if you aren't working with a venue such as that, you have to ensure that the venue you're working with has many recycling stations available and a good in-house recycling policy. So this is going to help you, and you also should look at areas like shipping and receiving to make sure that that recycling is going all the way down to all different areas, especially that you'll be using for your event. Also, find ways to minimize plastics. Use biodegradable kitchenware or recyclable materials like plastic-free items such as glass or wood. And take a look at your packaging that you're using associated with your event, because there's opportunity there. You can use non-plastic alternatives for packaging some areas. If you're using a box lunch, what type of packaging is involved in that box lunch? Can you use something that may be different if it's plastic? Don't be afraid to ask your hotel and collaborate with them in these areas. Many of them I've found are really excited for the opportunity to partner with you on things such as that. Water and technology also can be areas of focus for sustainable events. So making sure that your property has water efficient appliances or a water saving policy in place, recognizing if your event has and uses smart energy like lighting and temperature controls, so there's no energy wasted, and leveraging things like having an app for your meetings on your smartphone instead of handing out paper for surveys and agendas and things like that. Having that all in an app can help eliminate the need for any of that other excess paper at the event. With over 73% of travel managers are communicating to their employees about sustainable event practices these days. That was mentioned as a part of a GBTA study and mentioned at a CVent Connect event. this is only going to increase. With this being something that's communicated on the regular, this is going to increase as we move on. And as an event planner, it's important that we embrace sustainable event practices. So if you want to learn more about principles for sustainable events, a helpful resource is a handout by the Events Industry Council. It's a handy resource for event professionals. I'll link it in the description for you. You can even sign a pledge, especially if you really want to put forth this wonderful effort here of committing to endorsing principles of sustainability and events practices. You can also do that via that link. Well, that's all I do have for today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and it really helped you to look at sustainable event practices a little bit differently, and it encourages and challenges you to continue to make choices that are going to help positively impact our communities and our earth. Thank you so much for listening. Please stay on purpose.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, hit the like button and tell us how much you enjoyed the show by leaving a message in the comments. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.